12 matchup between the Iowa State Cyclones and the TCU Horned Frogs. Welcome to pregame.tv. He's Bryan Leonard, Marco D'Angelo. I'm Scott Spreitzer. We saw this number open as high as 14 at one book in Las Vegas that likes to get out early on Sunday night. A little bit more legitimate number was 13, and a little bit more legitimate than that was an opening number of 12 on Sunday night at some of the other books. But the bottom line is the current line is now 10. TCU laying the points. Marco, TCU, a little bit banged up right now at running back. Not only the starter, who's been banged up for a couple of weeks, but they're banged up with the second-string running back. And while they're a good team, they're not quite up to the level of some of these Gary Patterson Horned Frog teams we've seen over the last half dozen years or so.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the lines maker brought this line out, Scott, based on past performances and name rather than current form. They're struggling offensively to put points on the board. And Iowa State is a team that's flying under the radar right now. This team, I think, is better than they look. They've turned the ball over 11 times in the last 3 games. That's going to hurt you. If they hold on to the football and playing against a team that's having trouble scoring points, they're a live dog. And, this is a play that, I gave out earlier this week on my Betting First Look show because of the line movement. I think there's a live dog here.
Well, Bryan, you and I both got this early. Right. I wanted to mention real quickly, Grambling State, Kansas, Virginia, and Southern Methodist. What do these teams have in common? They've all played TCU, and as Marco just mentioned, the Horned Frogs weren't able to move the ball well, weren't able to put the ball in the end zone. I know they had a couple of turnovers against Kansas, but still, the ball wasn't getting in the end zone anywhere near the frequency that we would have saw out of past TCU teams against those cream puffs.
Yeah, I love Patterson as a coach, but this offense, 20 points against Kansas. I mean, when was the last time Kansas gave up 20 points to an FBS school? I mean, it doesn't happen very often. And it made a lot of sense that the line would come down because the line did open 14. I took the 14. But the total, what is it, 45 is down to 43. Right. Anytime you can catch double digits in a low-scoring game, that's a good bet, and that's something for a lot of people that are watching the video, because compare that the total in the game compared to the side, and you can see right there where the line's going to go.
And as far as Iowa State was concerned, guys, they played that game against Texas Tech. It was in Ames, Iowa. I didn't get involved, but I would have gotten involved with Iowa State if I was forced to play that game. But I'm watching the contest. They start out quick. They get the interception return for a touchdown. They go up 7-0. But the problem with Iowa State was they had turnovers in that game. And, in fact, 10 of Texas Tech's 24 points came on drives of 27 yards and 9 yards because of Iowa State turnovers. So I think they shore up that turnover problem. They're not a team that has a propensity to turn it over a lot under Paul Rhodes. Then they're able to hang this public number. I still think at 10, you got to go with the underdog here, Marco.
I got to agree. Just to emphasize how bad this TCU offense is doing right now. Last week against an SMU team, which we're never going to confuse them for a defensive juggernaut by any means. They had 6 takeaways from SMU, and they still only put up 24 points on the board. You get 6 turnovers, and you only get 24 points, you've got a real problem. And if you think back to the Virginia game a couple weeks ago where they scored 27, they scored the last 7 points of that game. It was very late in the game when they were in a position just to be running out the clock, and they threw a pass in which they totally caught the defense off guard, and the guy goes the distance for the touchdown to get them to 27, and ironically actually covered the spread for them in that game. This defense, the offense is having problems. I can't lay double digits with them.
Any closing thoughts before I get to my best bet?
No, not at all.
All right, let's do it. My best bet. My best bet this week is the Iowa State Cyclones plus the points over TCU, getting a few less points than you would have got last Sunday night. But the bottom line is I still think they're laying too many talking about TCU. What does Texas Tech, Texas, and Nebraska have in common since Paul Rhodes has coached the Iowa State Cyclones? How about home straight-up losses to Iowa State? TCU better watch out. I think Iowa State's going to be right there at the very end as far as the straight-up results are concerned, which gets them under the number. Iowa State plus the points, my best bet. Hey, don't go away because we've still got NFL. There's plenty of college football videos from us. Stay tuned all weekend long right here at pregame.tv.